Are you an HR professional or an aspiring HR professional and you're wondering if you have what it takes to be successful in this career? Let's talk about it. So today we're talking about my 10 top tips for being successful in an HR career. Hey, my name is Brittany Graddick, CEO and founder of Talented Teams Consulting, where I work with HR departments of one to help you to grow your career with intention. So we're going through this 30-day series on how to build your career with intention, and we're now on day 9 talking about my 10 top tips of how to build your career successfully, again, with intention. Over my nearly 15 years of HR experience, starting from an unpaid intern and now currently working in executive leadership in addition to this business, I've learned a lot over these last several years, and I'm now working to fill other professionals with the same tools and techniques that I've learned to build their careers as well. So today, within these 10 top tips, you're going to learn different ways that you can build your career, things that you need to work on. So if you don't already have a pen and paper, go ahead and get that now so you can make sure you take these notes. I want to make sure that you're getting these nuggets so that you can know what you need to work on and what you need to get better with. First things first, the very first tip is just to keep your cup full. So when I say keep your cup full, we're talking more about self-care, and we're talking about making sure that you have the things that you need before you want to think about building yourself, before you want to think about building others around you. I want to make sure that you remember to prioritize your family, prioritize your friends, prioritize your self-care over everything else. Remember, even as you build your career, you're going to be no good to your career if you are not whole yourself. So make sure that you know exactly what that means for you. What do you enjoy to do? What do you enjoy to read? Do you like to read? What do you like to listen to music in? All of those things are important when you're trying to keep your cup full, because you're going to need to know that when it gets to those times where your cup is not full. For example, if you're feeling stressed out about things, you need to know what it takes to recharge your batteries. So again, my very first tip is making sure that you know everything you need to do to make sure that you yourself are whole before you want to prioritize your career. My second tip is to make sure that you are becoming an expert in your field. So what that means is make sure you are continuously taking in information to know who to ask questions to, where to learn information, how to take in the information, all of those things to make sure that you are becoming an expert, a trusted resource within your organization. Again, if you're looking to build your career, you're going to need to be known within your organization as the expert in your field. Especially as an HR department of one, again, your supervisor likely has no HR background. And that's not a knock on them, but that's just not their specialty. So again, you have to be that trusted resource, or else you threaten the likelihood of your position being outsourced or being taken up with a consultant and things of that nature. So what are the things that you can do to make sure you are filling your cup in this way? So this means making sure that you know exactly what your strengths are. What are the areas where you're most competent? What are the areas that you need more support? In a prior video, I talked about making sure that you can figure out where you require those areas of support, making sure you're not just living in those spots where it's comfortable, but that you're pushing yourself and challenging yourself to do those hard things, have those hard conversations. But then also, once you get to that point where you know that you've honed that skill, create your own processes, create your own systems, create your own tools and techniques. It's going to help to build your own confidence and also help you to help others as you build your team, or as you meet another HR department of one professional who also needs help in that area. Being an expert can manifest itself in so many ways, but you got to first prove to yourself that you're the expert. My third tip is to build your self-awareness. So one of the things that's really, really vital as an HR department professional, specifically as an HR department of one, you've got to be very self-aware. So one of the ways that I like to do this is to be very reflective. Before I go into my work day, I make sure I'm thinking about, okay, so how did my last day go? What are the things I want to get into this today? Do I have any tough conversations to have? How do I think this person's going to respond to those conversations? All of those things, you want to make sure you're really, really thinking things through. The reason for this is because you want to make sure that as the HR department of one professional, you know exactly what it takes to make sure that you are having a very self-aware conversation. You can kind of tell when a conversation is getting ready to go off the rails. You can anticipate people's objections and their frustrations when it comes to certain things. If you're very self-aware, it's going to help you to also be very aware of the situation. So being introspective to yourself, but also aware of those around you is going to be really, really helpful as you build your career, because people are going to look to you and they're going to know that they trust that whenever they come to you, you have a very even-keeled response, you have a very measured response, and you think things through. My fourth tip is always be willing to serve others. Seek out ways to serve others. So while you're becoming an expert in your field, you're perfecting your processes and you know your own systems, always look to see how you can be a support to others. Get creative in figuring out ways that you can contribute to the work of others. As an HR Department of One professional, it's important to be approachable. It's important for people to know that they can come to you and talk to you about anything. And you want to be known as a resource. So as you find creative ways to serve those around you are going to look to you again as the expert, and you're going to be a resource within the organization. We're coming up on my fifth and favorite tip, but before we go any further, I want to invite you, if you have not already downloaded my free guide, Thriving as an HR Department of One, the 5 things that your HR career demands, I invite you to click the link below to download that guide. My fifth tip is to stay curious. There's a lot of benefit to staying curious because it helps you to look at things from different perspectives. If you don't approach it with an I know it already attitude, then you are approaching it instead with an attitude of, okay, so what do I need to know about this? What do I not know? How could this be done better? How are others handling this? All of these questions are great questions to keep that curiosity going. You never want to get too complacent in your position where you're feeling like you're coasting through. You never want to do anything in your sleep. If you find yourself doing something in your sleep, challenge yourself to figure out a way to do something different. Improve that process. Maybe that's a way you can streamline it. Maybe that's a way you can automate it. But making sure that you're consistently being curious in what you do day to day is going to help you to build your career, because it's going to help, again, to build your expertise as well as your credibility. So my sixth tip is to get out of your comfort zone. So when it comes to doing things and meeting new people and trying new projects and doing new challenges, you want to make sure, again, that you're not just staying in the safe lane. It's difficult to grow where you're not being challenged, and it's difficult to grow where it's just super comfortable. You've got to get out of your comfort zone and try new things, because it's going to prove to yourself that you can do those hard things. So again, as you build your career and grow your expertise, you really want to make sure that you're staying out of your comfort zone, because it's going to prepare you and position you for more eyes on you, more opportunities for advancement, and also a greater flexibility of work and scope of work. My seventh tip is work on becoming a better communicator. Now, when I was in high school, I did not think of myself as being a great writer. I was around a lot of great writers in high school, and I just felt that myself, I was not one of them. I still know that there's a lot of work that I have to do when it comes to being a great writer and a great speaker, but I've continued to hone that skill. So those around me on my 9 to 5, they think that I'm a great writer. They think that I'm a great speaker. So in doing that, I feel like there's always ways for me to get better and grow and learn. But it's because I've been intentionally building that skill as well. If you know that you have a difficulty speaking in large groups, figure out ways to get out of your comfort zone and speak in large groups, whether that's locally within a community organization that you're a part of, whether that's giving a presentation on your job, whether that's just practicing in the mirror at home. That's the best way to get better at anything, is to practice it. And if you know that you're struggling with written communication, use tools like Grammarly and things of that nature to make sure that you are always putting your best foot forward when it comes to the written word. Again, people learn and take in communication in different ways. So the more ways that you can be an effective communicator, the better for your career. My 8th tip is to be more disciplined. Now, when I say be more disciplined, that manifests itself in a lot of different ways. That's being disciplined with your emotion, being able to keep your emotions even keeled. That's being disciplined with your habits. Make sure you're getting up at a good time. Make sure you're going to bed at a good time. Making sure you're taking breaks at a good time. That's being disciplined with your level of motivation. Knowing how motivated you need to be in order to get things done. Knowing how to stay motivated. As you become disciplined, you're going to find it easier to navigate your career, because others around you are going to be able to have some predictability around the output that you produce. So for example, if you set a goal for yourself, if you set a project timeline or a project deadline, and you're disciplined in the work that you do, your supervisor and those around you are going to trust that you're going to get that work done. So being disciplined manifests itself in so many ways, but figure out what that means for you and your career. My 9th tip is to get super clear on where you want to go, where you want to grow your career. You want to make sure that you're not just working day in and day out and it's just like a never-ending Groundhog Day. You want to get super clear on what your next goal is. The reason for that is we work easier, we work better, and we're more motivated in the work that we do if we know where we're going. It's like having a vision. If you know where you're going, it's going to be easier to get there, and you're going to know when you get there. So again, get super clear on where you want to go with your career, and it's going to make it easier for you to navigate. And my 10th and final tip for making sure that you can grow your career intentionally and have great success is to set goals, achieve those goals, and then set more goals. So again, it's a never-ending target. You've never arrived. You should never get to the point where you feel that you've arrived. The reason for that is life is just continuous. Everything that you do in life should build on top of each other. Nothing should ever be wasted. And you should always be able to call back things that you've done before and say, okay, well, that helped me to do better with this. And that helped me to do better with this. And had I not gone through that bad experience, I wouldn't be able to get through this well. So again, as you set different goals, you want to make sure you're continuously measuring those goals' success, and so that you can create more goals for yourself. Again, if you're trying to grow your career with intention, again, you got to know where you're going, you got to know how you get there, when you get there, and you got to know where the next step is. These are my 10 tips on how to build your career with success and with intention. I worked in an HR department by myself for about 5 to 6 years before growing my team, and in that process, I did a lot of self-discovery and growing, but it was hard. Those were the hardest years of my career. So now I'm helping professionals like you to navigate those waters because I know how difficult it can be. If you haven't already, download my free guide, The 5 Things Your HR Career Demands, How to Thrive as an HR Department of One. It's going to help you to kind of pinpoint where you want to prioritize your next career move, your next goal, with making sure you're building your career with intention. And that's what this 30-day series is all about. If you found this helpful, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, drop a comment below to let me know what you took away best. And if there's any questions that you have, feel free to reach out to me. If you'd like to work a little bit deeper, we can always book a discovery call as well. I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.